think when I look at that, again, I said earlier, problem, solution, market, team. I think team is the most critical component. If you have an A+ product and a C team, I don't care about your product. If you have a A+ team and a C product, an A+ team will figure out how to make a better product. They'll figure out what's not working. So what I look for in team, it's the haves and the have-nots. So what do you have on the team? You know, if you want to build a SpaceX competitor, I want to know that you've got some brilliant physicists, some literal rocket scientists. I don't care if you worked at Goldman Sachs and studied the problem. I want to see that Aaron Chesky, who founded Airbnb, he didn't run hotels, but he was in the service industry. He understood customers, consumer behavior. So I want to see that you know that. It's helpful when you've worked together previously. It's not critical. But we all know, there are good days and there are not as good days. On your not as good days, I want to know that you've got that sort of oomph inside to not just say, I quit, but to say, hey, you know what? Joe and Dave butt heads from time to time, but that's okay because I know they always figure it out. Well, I think if we're lucky, we're good at like 2 or 3 things, right? So my co-founder in a previous company he had a master's from Columbia in advanced machine learning, brilliant developer. He'd probably be the first to tell you he didn't like selling to customers, didn't really enjoy thinking of business strategy. If it was up to him, he would write code all day, and he did a great job of it. So, if you think of the business needs this amount of functions, here is my developer, here is my business person. It's extremely unlikely, and it's happened a handful of times where the same person can really excel on both sides. And even when they can, ultimately, if you think of this in the sports analogy, if I play basketball, I want to win. I'm not building a company to not do well. So I want to have the best player at each position. I don't need 5 co-founders, but and so I think that's the way I look at it. Because if we're all being honest, we'd say, okay, again, if I'm building SpaceX, I'll use that as my example. I'm the world's most renowned rocket scientist, but I've never raised $300 million. Wouldn't even know where to go. So I team up with a former entrepreneur turned venture partner who's really great at raising capital. Together, we conquer all. Individually, the smart banker has no idea how to build a rocket, so he just draws pretty pictures of rockets. And the physicist knows how to build them, but nobody takes him seriously when he says, all I need is $300 million. And that happens. You go to various events where you see the really smart engineers that are trying to do everything by themselves, and they don't always, but they generally sort of struggle to raise. I think, again, if you sort of said these are the 10 things that our team needs to do well. We need someone who we're an enterprise rocket company, right? So we need to be able to sell. Who are our customers? How do we sell to them? What are the partnerships that we need to have? What are all the supply chain components of a rocket? Who understands how to procure and get the propulsion systems? Who, from a manufacturing perspective? So in that example, you kind of start to identify the 10, 12 high-level skill sets. And then I say, okay, Brian, he knows these things. So I give him a 1 to 10 assessment on these skills. And then Jason has a 1 to 10 on those same skills. And we say, great, on these 3 or 4 things, Brian is a 10. We better not hire anybody else because he's a 10. Jason is a 10. And then we say, oh, these 4 skills are a collectively we're a 1 or a 2. Well, those are the things that we really need to identify, because we sort of see those as critical path success topics. And I think as the company grows and you get a little more specialized, right? Like day one, the technical founder of a company does this. As you get more specialized, you're not just the rocket guy. Okay, cool. I'm in charge of, the internal combustion systems on the third rocket, and this person is in charge of, like, you get specialized labor. But day one, he's in charge of all the engineering. She's in charge of all of the business. And I think it's critically important to get it right early, because if you think, the way I see it, the first 10 employees of a company really set the foundation for growth. So, you might have had your first early hire that was a senior systems developer. 3 years from now, they are the head of engineering, right? They're the chief product officer. So because they have grown and evolved and seen everything over time. So I think team is the critical thing to not screw up. You can screw up product a lot. You're going to guess the wrong customers. You're going to charge the wrong amount. You'll have a marketing campaign that just doesn't resonate. Those are experiments. But you really need to nail the people.